Tonight I want to speak to you on the subject of Bible prophecy and the Doomsday clock. I don't know how many of you are aware of what the Doomsday clock is and what it represents. You will be before our time is over. But just a few days ago, they made a pronouncement, and the group of scientists that use this Doomsday clock, as it's called, moved it forward to 90 seconds to Armageddon. And that's their term and not mine. The original terminology for the Doomsday clock, midnight, was Armageddon. And what really caught my attention was how much the secular news focused upon the advancement of the hands of this imaginary clock that represents the self-annihilation of the world. 90 seconds to midnight represents the highest threat level in the project's entire history. But did you know that this elite group of doomsday scientists, in the reasons stated for moving the hands to 90 seconds before midnight, 90 seconds before self-annihilation, 90 seconds before Armageddon, they gave several reasons why they moved the threat level to its historic and closest position on that doomsday clock. And as I was reading the articles and then reading other articles and confirming to make sure that I had factual information, because as I was reading the original article that I saw from USA Today, it struck me that the very reasons that these non-religious, mostly agnostic, some atheist group of scientists gave for this moving of the hands to self-annihilation more than ever before in its history were straight out of Bible prophecy. And I want to share that with you tonight, and we're also going to be making this available on various social media platforms. It is my prayer that if you're a Christian, that you would consider sharing this with someone who needs to hear the gospel while there is yet time. And in our few moments tonight, I want to share exactly with you what they said and parallel with it exactly what the Bible foretold. I'm reading to you a passage out of the last book in the Bible, the book of Revelation, and the 16th chapter, beginning to read at verse 12 and reading down through verse 16, and I'm reading out of the New Living Translation. Revelation chapter 16, verse 12, the Bible said, "Then the sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great Euphrates River." Pause right there. If you're a new student of the Bible, your question would be obviously, what does it mean he poured out his bowl? Well, in the book of Revelation, and I don't have time to do an exhaustive study on all of the judgments of the book of Revelation. I have a lot of content available on that if you'd like to study it. But there are 7 bowl judgments that are foretold in the scripture and will take place during a 7-year period of time called the tribulation. And so the 6th angel mentioned in Revelation 16 is pouring out his bowl on the great Euphrates River. And the Bible said it dried up so that the kings from the east could march their armies towards the west without hindrance. Pause again. The Bible tells us in the book of Revelation that in the last days, after the rapture, there will be a group of allied nations that are going to come together out of the north, and they're going to attack Israel. They will be defeated not by the technology of Israel's great army and great military prowess, but the Bible tells us that Jesus Christ himself will fight that battle and execute their enemies once and for all. But the Bible tells us something very specific that, if it's not true, would dismantle the credibility of the Bible in one fell swoop. It said that the Euphrates River, historically one of the greatest rivers in that region of the world, in the last days is going to dry up. And that as it dries up, it will provide a military highway for Russia and all of the Muslim nations and some European nations that will ally together in this great assault against Israel. They'll use the Euphrates River